Mr. Speaker.
Oh, the Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Mr. Speaker, I thank the Minister for his charitable comments. I'm not sure I can return fire on that score. This, sir, is a complete and utter waste of time. A complete and utter waste of time. And yes, the Minister's right. We'll put a tick in the box because even this, not even a fig leaf, not even a shadow of a fig leaf is better than something. And sir, I just read out the words of one Terry Boucher. What was that, Junior Jerry in the front row? I read this. Terry Boucher, who's an accounting professional, who said, we do not believe, no, quoted from a submission, we do not believe that the introduction of the bright line test for residential land is sound tax policy, unquote. That was the Chartered Accountants of New Zealand and Australia, CAN's opening sentence to their submission to FEC regarding this piece of legislation. Sir, it is complete bunkum. Even the Minister used the word own home. He couldn't even get his own definition right, sir. The definition in the bill is main home, but I have some sympathy because the definition in this bill doesn't comply with the Tax Act and isn't consistent with the Tax Act nor the Land Act, and he's got another definition there, the main home. This was going to be the big hit, sir. This was Mr. Key and Mr. Macleay going away and saying, hang on, after years and years of the feet being put to the fire of this government about the problem of Auckland and New Zealand house prices spiralling, the polls have told us we can't sit there with our hands behind our back and do nothing. We've got to do something. So in the usual Tory way, they come out and say, well, just do enough to make it look like we're doing something substantial. The Treasury said to them, if you're going to do this and you actually want to stop or limit the housing sale churn, you've got to have 5 years. That's what the Treasury said. The Treasury said 5 years. These guys, sir, said 2 years. And submitter after submitter, and these weren't sort of Joe Public, these were learned people from the accounting profession, EY, Aussie, New Zealand, Chartered Accountants, others, who came to the Law Society, who came before the committee and shot bazooka holes through this piece of legislation. Many of them, sir, said basically it will have no effect except it will have a perverse effect for the ACT member in the front row. I'm sure he'll listen to this. And that submitter after submitter said that his mates, sir, the property speculators, of course, will simply change their behaviour, hold for 2 years and 1 day, and then start all over again. However, if it's Joe Average, sir, if it's Joe Average who falls on hard times, somebody passes away, the income earner perhaps, something happens, and a family or a property owner family falls on hard times and they have to sell, then they're nailed by this. They're nailed by this inside 2 years. There is no provision in here, unlike, for instance, in the Kiwi Saver legislation, where there are provisions, I believe, very tight ones around hardship. There is nothing in here to deal with that. Then you look at the definitions. This is going to be the big hit. The big hit. They're going to go after the property speculators, they said, as capital prices go up $1,000 a day in Auckland. They're going to go after the big-time speculators. And then the IRD and Treasury reported that the total amount of revenue they're going to raise from this is a mere $5 million. Now, if you look at the figures and the house price inflation that's been reported in recent days, 20+% in Auckland, that is pitiful. $5 million is all they're going to get. Now, that is absolute prima facie evidence that this is just a political pamphlet. This is just something to make it look like the government's doing something. But the people who'll get clobbered are mum and dad Joe Average, who fall on hard times and are forced to sell inside the 2 year period. They're the ones that'll get taxed. And then you come and you look at the definitions, sir. I mean, I must say the Minister took a call today. Thank God for that. It took till the third reading, sir, for the Minister to take a call. He never took a call in the committee stage, never took a call. He had every other portfolio minister sit there and never answer a question, sir. Utterly indifferent. I've got to have sympathy for him. Poor old soul, takes over from Peter Dunn. The poor guy, the Prime Minister must have come to him and said, mate, here's a live grenade, swallow this one, brother. And it is indefensible. because the best the minister could do was get up and read the IRD's notes in the third reading, having not answered one question. He might, one of the other speakers today from the National Party might tell us, because one of the questions we raised, sir, was what does this mean? What does this mean? Main home definition. One of the definitions is a main home, get this, with which the person has the greatest connection. Now, I don't know, maybe there's a few hippies over there, bit of the old psychedelic poo-ha, maybe they're levitating a bit, you know, maybe they're feeling their softer side.
No, order. Member resume a seat. Now, we have had some public comment about members making accusations about other members drug taking. That will not continue. Clayton Cosgrove.
Oh, sorry, sir. Can I put it this way? Maybe they're imbibing legitimate substances which are giving them a wee G up, sir. But maybe they can tell us what connection means. What a wonderful word that is, connection. How are they going to actually, how is the IRD going to sort of look through the crystal ball and in some socialised way tell us how someone is connected to a property? Is it, you know, they go down to the local pub on the corner, you know, 3 or 4 times a week, maybe they're there for a day, maybe their kids are there. No definition, no explanation from the minister, nothing. Now, you've got to also look at Auckland. So you're getting, what, 20 points plus per annum. 20 points plus per annum, sir. And I think the percentages are 15 to 17% of properties are turned over inside 2 years. And we know which end of town that is. But why would you not hold for 2 years and 1 day if you're getting a 20% return, which is better than anything I've seen in the investment community can get? Sir, this is not going to stop. This is not going to stop. This might stop a few people. They might have a look. They might have a quick look and say, maybe we've got to change our behaviour. But this is going to have virtually zero impact. So we'll put a tick in the box on it, sir. It was rushed through the Parliament, rushed through the Select Committee process, a David Bennett special. Didn't want any in-depth inquiries of official advice. Feel sorry for the officials, because you always know when an official can't answer a question what that means, or won't answer a question. It means they do know the answer, but the minister's told them they can't answer that question because it'll be an embarrassment to the government. Very professional officials as we have, sir. This is bunkum, absolute bunkum. Sir, from the Law Society, from the CANS group, right through, everybody has said to a man and woman that this is not going to work. And we've had a minister who simply adopted, I suppose, the Peter Dunn philosophy of life, which is sort of, you know, go down the burrow, pull the lid over the top and hope that the grenades don't shatter, sir, over his head. Say nothing, do nothing. Pardon? Oh, well, they do with this guy, sinking lids in this case, sir. So, Mr Speaker, sir, we will support it, but I make this point. We will be back here, I wager. I thought it would be 2 years, change of government. I suspect we'll be back here, sir, possibly as the courts deal with some of this legislation, to fill the holes, patch it up and try and make it work. Try and make it work, sir. And I know who's going to be speaking next, that eminent chartered accountant, sir, that expert from Hamilton, the Waikato, who knows everything about these sorts of, I humble myself before him, sir. I'd like him, perhaps, to deal with some of the questions we raised in the committee stage, to deal with the main home exemptions, the main home definition. Well, I live in hope. I'm a charitable guy, as the Speaker knows. You know, I live in hope that some of the questions raised by the Law Society, by Terry Boucher, by others, you know, the exemptions for farmland, you could drive a bus through those. The main home exemption and trust exemption, you could drive a bus through them. Now, given that Mr Bennett is such an expert, I'm sure he might do what his minister hasn't done and actually get up and explain to us, say, for instance, make it easy for him, what is the connection to the main home? What is that? What intangible concept is that IRD are going to be dealing with? Why is there an exemption for farmland and how is it going to be administered? And I'll make a bet with it. I'll make a bet. The accounting profession are out there today and they've got all the loopholes lined up. It's like a calendar. It's like a calendar. They may as well deliver a briefing paper to their clients with a whole lot of holes in it, and they're working quick fixes and workarounds to this legislation. It is an embarrassment to this government. It will prove to be an embarrassment to this government, and I look forward to the speeches when they return, sir, to this Parliament, sir, and we have to amend it. We have to amend it, because this is not a big hit, sir. This is not a small hit, sir. This is what one could only describe, sir, as quality bull.
David Bennett.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.